And again they drive at the line, and would New Zealand get in for their second try? It was Craig Dowd who gets the touchdown, and the pressure has just been too much. Look at that support from New Zealand in the crowd.
What do you enjoy? And what do you enjoy doing? Because at the end of the day, if you
other than playing.
Well, it's absolutely other than playing. Because if you're going to enjoy it, something you do have a passion for, you'll actually gravitate towards learning more about it.
This podcast is proudly supported by the Ōtara Network Action Committee, ōNAC, community-owned, community-driven and community-led.
No mai hoki mai anō ki We Are Ōtara. This is our podcast at Ōtara where we tell our stories our way, and we've been able to put this whole podcasting studio together, just in case you've forgotten, with help from ōNAC, the Ōtara Network Action Committee. Today, it is my absolute delight to introduce you to Craig Dowd. Craig is someone who is no stranger to the silver screen, as they say. But we've promised him today that it will be a conversational interview like no other, that this will be a conversation. We don't want to know about his amazing rugby history today because I think you all know it. So what we're going to talk about today is what happened when you broke into that great world, Craig, that's outside the paddock.
The real world, right?
The real world, the other world. I think, we all go through that point in our lives, don't we, when there's that epiphany and you go, oh, yeah, there is something else, and actually that's what I want to be doing.
For sure.
Do you want to describe that moment for you?
Oh, look, there's one of the questions that every rugby player must dread is when somebody comes up to them and goes, so what are you going to do after rugby? And you hear it time and time again, and a lot of times I just felt like saying, I got no idea. So it was a sort of journey of discovery to try and find something and find where I fitted. And I suppose 13 years after the journey I've had with my company is I've had some success.
And 13 years down the track is pretty good. Yeah. So tell us about your company.
I have a company, D3. We started, we specialise in strapping tapes. Mm-hmm. It was founded on the side of a netball court with my business partner, Kerry, who we were watching our daughters play one Thursday evening. As
we do.
And we just looked around and we saw everyone's wearing strapping tape, and we knew that the price at the chemist was extortionate. Mm-hmm. And we just thought, two men, sort of 40-ish,
who'd spent their lives wrapped in strapping tape themselves.
Having a moment was like a midlife crisis, and say, let's start a business and do something. And it was a bit of a crazy thought, but we started in a garage from nothing and basically put our pocket money together. And our wives said, you're going to get a real job soon. And we just give us a bit of time. Yeah. Sure enough, after 2 years of not paying ourselves a cent and sort of our wives propping us up, we started to get some traction and thought, right, the business has survived. And that was the policy. Most businesses go under within the first 12 months. And
I've always told myself that too. Yeah. And charities.
That's right. So we survived those 12 months, and then we had a policy, well, let's just continue to get that growth pattern. And we've lasted and sort of stayed around long enough to grow to a certain size now that we're sustainable and probably well established.
And paying yourself salaries.
Oh yeah, no.
Thank goodness for that. Yes. Yeah, because that line with the family doesn't actually perpetuate.
It was a high risk thing to do, but you get one moment in your life to say, let's just grab this opportunity and just see what we can do with it. And if we succeed, and if we don't, we'll go and get a real job.
Yeah. And you always promise that. I'm past that now, 20 years into the whole charities thing. And I don't want to do that anymore. Never get back on the
if you get the opportunity to control your own destiny, it's a wonderful thing.
Well, that was what you talked about just when we were having that chat before, was the whole idea about not working for someone else, being able to create the future that you want for your whānau, but also that you want for... in business, really, isn't it?
Well, that's right. If we fail, it's on us.
Yeah.
And if we succeed, well, that's great. We pat ourselves on the back and then we chase the next goal.
So this morning you've dropped off for us this amazing donation of a whole lot of hand sanitizer. So we'll be distributing that through the community over the next couple of weeks. Tell us about that pivot, because that's one of those ultimate business challenges, isn't it? So you woke up one morning, there was COVID, and you went, oh, hell.
Yeah, I actually landed back in the country on the 20th of February. First COVID case was the 24th. I'd been travelling to northern Italy and the UK and the Philippines. So it's actually Northern Italy was a hotspot for a while, and the UK
it was the first hotspot, wasn't it?
It was the first hotspot, and the UK became the second hotspot, or the third. And after obviously China was the first one.
Mrs. Dowd was obviously testing you on a daily basis.
We brought COVID back to New Zealand.
No. Don't go there.
No, but anyway, we sort of, that was a crazy time, and being a company
terrifying.
Well, yeah. So in hindsight, we terrified ourselves, didn't we? But really, I wonder if we needed to. That's another argument. But I mean, with our business, sports just died. Sports just stopped. And of course, people weren't strapping their ankles and going out and playing on a Saturday anymore, or training on a Tuesday, Thursday. So we said, well, what are we going to do? So we looked at the PPE area, and we sort of, we'll just have a go at getting into the PPE. And hand sanitizer was one of the larger ones. We knew there was a hole in the market. Managed to, make a few phone calls and send a few emails and speak to the right people in the procurement for the New Zealand government to find out, you guys need some product. And they were desperate. They needed, there wasn't ethanol in the country. They needed to get as much hand sanitizer as they possibly could. So we thought, right, let's do it. So we leaped into action with what we do. We do currently have staff in China based over there. So we've got feet on the ground that can actually work for us. And we put a product together pretty quickly and got it in the country pretty quickly. And
so there weren't other countries trying to source hand sanitizer from China?
Everyone.
Oh, they were? Okay.
Everyone was trying. And it was
so there was a proven recipe by the time
whoever could get to the front of the queue and get it made and get it to where it's got to go as quickly as you possibly could were the ones that did very well out of it. And the one container we got into the country, we did pretty well. But the second container, that's when we hit the wall, and everyone sort of...
It was a bit late.
There was a glut in the market, and I had a phone, when I spoke to my contact, do you want another container? He says, no, but you want some of your other container back. That's when the phone went down. Nope. Hence,
have a nice time.
And hence that's when I put a post on LinkedIn to sort of, 2 years after COVID's a bit of a hangover now. Well, my hangover is these pallets of hand sanitizer sitting in our warehouse. One of the things we do get, and we get real pleasure, is the community when they play sports. We're able to help people out with products for, because it's not like we make cars. We make rolls of strapping tape, which is cheap. Yeah, in the sense of it, and it's easy for us to sort of reward a few people.
High margin in a chemist, but easy giveaway, I guess, is it? And an easy way to support.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we get approached all the time from teams that are sort of cash strapped and, sort of looking for a bit of help out, and tape's always the last thing they think of.
Yeah.
So every now and then, we've got some expired rolls, or we've got some, half used ones, so we can just sort of flick out the back door and help some community teams or just individual players. Yeah.
What else are you making now post-COVID? Have you got other products, or are you stuck with the tape, or where you are now?
No, we pretty much base ourselves on prehab, rehab, and keeping the active and keeping people moving. So your ankles, your lower back, anything that's going to help you, we get involved in. So we have a range of creams. We have massage guns. We have TENS machines. So it's all anything that is going to help you get over the aches and pains, or lock your joints up and take away the excuse for not getting off the couch.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. It's just amazing. I can see the. So outside that's your business day, I didn't find a lot of information about you when I was having a look around. Preparation, but what are the lessons that you've learned and the messages that you would give to a rugby playing son or aspiring?
Well, it's very much that is get the plan B sorted. I mean, I suppose I was lucky in the sense of I didn't go into a professional environment. I came out of school and went rugby was amateur, so I got an apprenticeship as a builder, and I spent 8 years on the building site.
So you've got your days on the tools. Yeah, and I kept fit.
That's when I was named in the All Blacks in '93. I literally would be finishing a test match, go home on the Sunday, back on the building site on Monday. So, you
somebody going, I don't care whether you won or lost. It's 7:05.
That's right. So, and it wasn't until 95, after the 95 World Cup, that the rugby went professional into the 96. And that's when, I was lucky to have the initial stages as an amateur to know how the real world worked and spend some time on the building site. And, my backup plan was, had I not made it as a rugby player, probably to go back on the tools and and a lot of builders out there have done very well for themselves.
They have indeed.
Maybe I did miss a boat there.
No. Plan B. So how does a young, we've got a lot of kids that come through here that have big dreams in their hearts. How do you make sure you've got plan B, or you can have a plan B?
And that's, I suppose the danger is when you have a 19, 20, 21-year-old, they think they're bulletproof.
And, they do.
And they think, no, I will make it. And I've heard it so many times before, what are you going to do if you don't make it as a rugby player? And I've heard very staunch players, no, I will. And in a lot of ways, you do have to have that confidence, but
but you can.
And that's wonderful, and I'm sure you will. But then let's think about sort of putting some time, maybe studying some courses, or sort of getting some time on a building site, picking up a trade, learning some skill sets. And obviously, what do you enjoy, and what do you enjoy doing? Because at the end of the day, if you
other than playing.
Well, absolutely other than playing, because if you're going to enjoy it, something you do have a passion for, you'll actually gravitate towards learning more about it. And if you can make a job out of it, then fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I often say that to young people too, that if you find a job you love, you'll never work another day in your life.
Well, that's right,
Yeah. So I was thinking, just as you were talking then, that we're not just talking about not making it, but, there's a whole lot of guys that aren't going to France this week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And, they're all guys at the top of their game, and not all of them are injured.
Yep.
And so there's some broken hearts there. So it's not, but there is the injury conversation too, isn't there? That every day you run out on the paddock, you could get injured.
Yeah, that's right. Hence I started a business of sort of working around that, because the
injury business.
The injuries, and if you're strapped up with D3, you wouldn't have the injury. There you go. It's the other stuff you use, not branded stuff. Go for the D stuff. They look after you. No, you're quite right. Injury is something that it can happen any time, any moment, and it's devastating for players that are missed out on the World Cup or missed out on rep teams, because of the injuries. It's hard working, sitting on the sideline. And I've had my fair share. I suppose back in 94, I broke my ankle, and thanks to Shem Tatapu, at the Auckland training, he jumped on my back and spun me that way, and my ankle was still facing that way, and snap. I needed 3 pins put in there. But for me, that's probably the moment in the back of my head that D3 was born, because when I came back after getting it out of the cast, and this was in October 1994, I had to get back really quickly.
They were still using a lot of plastic casts before they got into the moon boot age.
And I had to strap it to train. I had strapped it literally every time, and that was going into 95, and then knowing there's a World Cup in 1995, I had to just bust my gut to get ready and get fit for that World Cup. So I strapped my ankle a lot. Basically, at the end of my career, I suppose, it spanned probably, 15, 20 years of top level stuff. I would have strapped 6,000 times. So, a bit of experience.
As you said, a bit about tape.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And why not? Like I say, at the end of my career, I looked, what am I going to do? You can always get into coaching like everybody else does and sort of have a crack at the coaching. You did that too, though. No, I did. Yeah. And look, I enjoyed it. But I have more of a passion to sort of control my own destiny. I sort of struggle to say, coaching players, go and do this, go and do that. When really I want to go out there and do it. And that's.
So it's part of when you were a coach, was part of your philosophy, part of what you took into the training room every day, was that, what's your plan B going to be? What's your plan? What's your plan B? What's your plan B? So did you do that with the teams?
Well, that's part
It's
of
an active.
I mean, there's reaction and there's planning for the moments when things don't go quite right. And if you were talking about the actual game of rugby and the way they play, that's very much the sport itself.
I mean plan B in terms of if they get injured, if they don't make the next game. Basically.
Most unions now have a player development manager who they are responsible, and we're now in an age where that's a given. Every union will have a player development manager who will sit down and talk with these players and say, what is your plan B?
So it's a professional.
From where we've come in, back in the 90s when we first went professional, we're literally sort of, it was the Wild West. And there were cowboys everywhere. And because we were starting to get paid money, we had all kinds of people saying, I'll help you out here. I'll show you this. And
in every sport.
Just give me 10,000 here or give me 15,000 here and I'll make you a lot of money. And next thing you know, that's gone and that's gone. And I'll never say, I won't see that guy again. And there's a lot of guys that, sort of got ripped off by a whole bunch of cowboys.
Yeah.
Whereas now, sort of 30 years later, God, I'm old. It's changed. There's structures put in place for those players.
Care and protection.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. And I think in the media this week, they've been talking about that mental support as well. And how do we ensure that the players have got strong mental health capability, really?
Look, the mental health side of it is, it's been there for a long time. It's just now we're identified it a bit more. And I think there's a balance. If you are struggling, speak up, talk, and all the rest of it. And what we need to understand is it's hard. There's demons in your head, but sometimes you have to overcome that. I mean, think about running on a rugby field with 50,000 people or 1 million people watching on TV. Think everyone's watching you, just what's going through your head at that moment. And I think I was quite lucky to be exposed to that, to sort of strengthen my inside, my demons, because, when I was 23 years old as a young All Black, I'm pushed onto a stage and I've got to speak to 1,500 kids. I don't know what I was going to say.
So there's no training for that
myself. No. There's literally, you're an All Black now. You just get on the stage and the kids will ask you questions and you just talk to them. I'm quiet by nature. I don't do a lot of speaking.
That was the Liston Monday morning assembly, was it?
No, there's a few of them, but you just after a while. I mean, I suppose when I got to the end of my career, I'd walk out on stage and talk, no problem at all. It's just that conditioning to and I suppose mental toughness or getting over those demons is actually conditioning yourself to sort of go through and understand that there is always light at the end of the tunnel, no matter what it is. You can always sort of battle through it, and you come out stronger.
Yes, make sure you've got the props around you.
Absolutely, totally agree. And don't be afraid to sort of say, "Hey, mate, can you have a chat?" And whether whoever that is.
It's really good advice, whether you're a rugby player or a top cyclist or a top skier or anybody, just a top human, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is a great piece of advice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, to our Māori, I suppose we say, whānau, tātou.
Yeah.
And we all step forward together.
Yeah.
And that's the same philosophy, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Let's be together and leave as the beautiful Ministry of Social Development say, leave no man behind, no child behind, I think it was. Yeah. Gosh, what a journey. So let's go forward 10 years. What's happening in 10 years?
What's happening 10 years
what's
from now?
What's your future planning? Yes. For you and your family.
To enjoy life. I'm 53 now. I'll be 54 in October. And I've said to the wife, look, the kids are out. They've moved out. They're doing very well.
You're lucky. No, that's not true.
When I say kids, the 26 and 23-year-old have moved out and they've got their own lives and they're living local, but
But somebody did explain that they keep coming back.
No,
it's a revolving door.
When you move, you've gone. That's it. We slam the door shut, and I said to the wife, "We're going to have some fun now. These are going to be the best years of our life." Because I believe in the 50s, you've got some, we're still healthy enough, we're still young enough, we're still mobile enough to actually get out there and enjoy life. And I think by the time you get to your 70s, you're going to start slowing down. So there's 16 years to sort of let's just have fun.
So that's what you're doing.
That's my
Already?
philosophy.
Oh.
I make every day as fun as I possibly can. you
Yeah.
know, inside of, well, of course, with work and everything else, but we're just enjoying each other's company.
Yeah. So what are the things you like to do? What is a
I
former
love my
rugby
fishing.
thing?
I love getting away. Sort of travelling New Zealand. We've got pug dogs. We breed. So we've always got those to keep
Sounds
us
busy.
I mean, look, I'm lucky enough to live on a lifestyle block. So if COVID does ever go back into a lockdown, thank God, we don't think it's going to happen. But if it did, I enjoy lockdown. I got plenty of work to do around the farm.
And you got plenty of hand sanitizer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So life on the farm, it is idyllic, is it?
Auckland is it's a big city. There's a lot of people and there's a lot of sort of traffic. It's just nice to get away. I live on a metal road. I pay huge amount, extortionate amount on rates, but I've still got a metal road, and sort of it's just out the back end of nowhere. So I just get away from everything.
Yeah, that's lovely, and lots of places for the dogs to run, I guess, too. Yeah.
Well, the dogs are run free. They rule the roost at our place.
Do they? Okay, that's a lovely place to go. So kids out, dogs in, rule the roost, and go on holiday.
And happy wife.
Happy wife, happy life. I've heard that. Okay, well, thank you so much, Craig. It was a fun conversation, actually, and that's what we're here to do, is make sure.
No, and look, honestly, for what you guys are doing, it's incredible stuff, incredible work, and congratulations to you and the team here. It's a great effort.
Well, we love it and come to work every day.
And I'm sure
because
the
we love
Ōtara
it.
community love it as well, so keep it up.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Kia ora.